looks like it is live. And that means we are once again trying to solve not a robbery. The robbery's supposedly solved. We're trying to solve an assault. Which could become a murder if things go really wrong. Okay. So, we have to get this guy to admit he's lying. Present the camera. Here we go. There is a way someone could have known. We also found a camera in that room. Before it was broken, someone had been spying on her. That person could have been you. How many monocles does he have? I don't know what you're talking about. I never put any camera in there. We know that Chandra worked with the thief and that you were suspicious of her. You should have reported it to the police. It was an internal matter. I needed to deal with it myself. This is beginning to sound like a clear motive for assault, right? How dare you? You can't possibly presume I attacked her. Why else did we find your fingerprints in that room? Why else would you have been spying on her? I mean, I went in that room, but not to attack Miss Lear. There was something important in there that I needed. Once I had it, I left. I have a witness who can verify as much. Oliver came out of her room. Okay, is anyone in this house telling me the truth is now the question. Oliver was there? He didn't tell us that. What was he doing there? I didn't ask. He just said she wasn't there and then he left in a hurry. Wait. Okay, wait. Maybe she and Oliver are stepping? What if they're all stepping each other? I don't know. So tell me, just what were you looking for in that room? It's none of your business, detective. That's fine. I already know the answer. This morning, our thief told us something very interesting. She mentioned that the charity money was wrongly calculated. I think Chandra had proof of it. So I'd wager guess you took it and then tried to end her life to tie up the loose ends. I would never harm her. That charity money was perfectly calculated. You have no grounds to doubt that. So what are you hiding from us? Let's hear it. You're a fool to take the word of some common thief over my own, especially without a smidge of evidence to back it up. An innocent woman is being charged with attempted murder. Any decent human being would want to help her. That wretch stole from me, filled my home with police officers, and you think I should help her? I mean, I guess I can kinda see that point. I have no sympathy for her. She's getting what she deserves. I thought you were, supposed to be a kind and charity-giving man, sir. You say that to her face after I drag you back to the station. Detective, you're taking this too far. He's right. We don't have any proof of this. Escalating things is only going to cause more problems. Seems your little assistant here has more sense than you. Well, thank God somebody in this room does. I will have your job for this, detective. One phone call to the chief of police and I'll ensure you never work in this city again. Oh, look, dude. You're not earning any points here. Let's go, Justina. We'll solve this case ourselves. I can't believe him. We're going outside right now. Okay, so Owen admits to having entered Chandra's room close to the assault in order to take something. He claims to have seen Oliver leave her room and that Chandra was not present. Detective, what's gone into you? Was he also stuffing Chandra? I'm just so confused right now. I'm sorry you had to see that. I should have handled things better. You're right, you should have! Do you have any idea how much trouble you've gotten us in? Did you hear what he said in there? You could lose your job over this. I stand by what I said. He knows more than he's letting on. They all know more than they're letting on. Hell, the cat knows more than it's letting on. Maybe so, but that's no reason to accuse the man of attempted murder. I can't reason with his kind. Being nice to them will only let them take advantage of you. I mean, I don't disagree necessarily. His kind? What, guys with monocles? The rich. The people who have enough money to change the world, but would rather hoard it all to themselves. They'll do anything to cling on to their power, no matter who they have to hurt in the process. Where's the lie? That's why he'd embezzle all that money. If bringing him down means I lose my job, then so be it. If he's so wealthy, why would he risk embezzling even more money? Because he can. Well, I think you're wrong. We have no reason to think he's a bad person. Did you not hear the same things I heard, Justina? Because he was kind of acting like a little bit of a twat. Just saying. Just saying. Sure, he was a little rude and he did lie to us twice. But there's more than that. You're naive, Justina. But you're right. I shouldn't have acted the way I did. It's just the Kloss orphanage is very important to me. I'll let that cloud my judgment. I'm sorry. Apology accepted, but why is the orphanage important to you? That's a story for another time. We have a case to solve. He was at the orphanage, didn't he? Yeah, like, what would... Rich people being rich doesn't necessarily stop them from embezzling. Just putting that out there. Right. I think it's time we pay a visit to Mr. Curry. Okay. Let's go back to the kitchen and ask Oliver some pointed questions. Most of the day cooking. Breakfast. I stayed here in the kitchen cleaning until I heard she was attacked. Found her in the trophy room by then. Okay, let's try this one. And use Owen's confession. Here we go. Mr. Curry, we spoke to Mr. Eubank. He told us that he saw you coming out of Chandra's room this morning. He did? Is that true? I'm so sorry, Detective, but I refuse to answer that. You refuse? I won't speak to either of you without a lawyer. I don't like this man's control over fire. It's disturbing. I see. Then we'll have to do this the hard way. Mr. Oliver Curry, you're under arrest for the assault and battery of Chandra Lear. You'll be coming back to the station with us for questioning. Okay, but look, he lied to us, but what evidence do we have that he assaulted her? Eubanks might be a rich dick, but he said that no one else was, that Chandra wasn't in the room when Oliver came out. You can speak with an attorney once you're there. I guess, yeah, it's just... Miss Assistant, let's head out. Right. What's going on? Oliver, where are they taking you? We're taking him in for questioning. He's refused to speak to us any longer, and so we have no choice but to arrest him. Does it really work that... Well, American police, what am I talking about? Is that so? You come into my house, snoop through all of my things, and now you're trying to arrest my staff? Snoop! You let us come in here and look around! That's not snooping! Oliver, don't say another word to them. I'll meet you at the station. Her tea's on fire again. Huh? Oliver is a trusted member of this household. I'll see his defense through. Ferris, please, you don't have to do this. I know what I'm doing, Oliver. My husband told me the things you said to him, Detective. I know what you're trying to do. You came into my own home and threatened my husband, and now you want to pin this crime on my chef. Yeah, she's a lawyer. Not only is she a lawyer, she's a lawyer for her husband's company, which, again, conflict of interest. I think it's time someone put you in your place. She stormed off in a rage. Get ready, Miss Assistant. This is only the beginning. We still have a long day ahead of us. No kidding. We headed back to the station, Mr. Curry in tow. The ride back was silent. Nobody wanted to speak or knew what to say. I don't know what to think. Mr. Curry attacked Chandra? If so, why? End of Case 2, Part 1. Okay, at the viewing room again. Here I am again, outside the interrogation room. I took the opportunity on the way over to clean out my notes. You seem nervous, Miss Assistant. Of course I'm nervous. Interrogating one person was hard enough, and now I have to do it with a lawyer in the room. A lawyer who really ought to point out that I'm not actually, like, a cop. I'm just a clerk. I do paperwork, but, you know, I'm not qualified for any of this. Why aren't you handling this? You should think more highly of yourself. You've got a perfect confession record. Most detectives would kill for that. Yeah, a perfect record of one. Terrible thieves are one thing. I dealt with customers trying to swindle my dad enough times to handle that. But I never dealt with a lawyer. She's just another obstacle in the way of the truth. Remember, nothing she says can change the facts. This is a test of logic and reason, same as before. As long as we have the facts on our side, the truth will reveal itself. You're going to get us a confession, Miss Assistant. I'll keep Mrs. Eubank off your back. If anything goes wrong, I'll be the one taking the fall. I trust you to see this through. Oh, no pressure. What if we miss something? What if Mr. Curry is innocent? Well, that's what we'll find out. Just trust your instincts, Miss Assistant. I mean, he does have a frying pan, which is something with a flat surface. You know what I mean? Like, it is, thinking about it, that does match the weapon that was used. So, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, let's go. Hold it! Miss Earl, what's wrong? Ernest, I don't know what you did back at the estate, but the chief is livid. He wants you in his office immediately. The chief will have to wait. We have an interrogation to conduct. This isn't even your department, Ernest. If the chief finds out... Have I ever led you wrong before, Sue? I need you to trust me on this. Keep the chief busy. I'll handle him after this is done. This case is going to get thrown out of court so hard. I never saw you. But if you two mess this up, I won't be able to protect your jobs. This applies to you too, Justina. No. If I lose this job, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent. Don't worry about that. We have everything we need to win this case. Okay, yeah. But we only proved he went to Chandra's room. We don't have grounds to arrest the man. When the police arrived this morning, Ferris was with Detective Swift, and Owen was snooping through Chandra's bedroom. Oliver's the only one unaccounted for. I hope you're right, Detective. Let's get started. Now that we're all here, let's get started. Oliver Curry, now that you have a lawyer, we'd like to ask you a few questions. Were you in Miss Lear's bedroom this morning? While my client acknowledges that he was indeed in Miss Lear's bedroom, he denies having anything to do with her attack. My client was simply looking for Miss Lear, and upon finding out she was not in her room, he left. Whatever happened to, like, knocking? Calling out? Leaving when it seems like the person's not in their room? You don't just walk into someone's room. Okay. I wish it was that simple. Someone attacked Miss Lear, and it wasn't the thief. Miss Yor and Miss Lear were working together. She'd have no reason to attack Miss Lear. Have you considered that they may have had a falling out, Detective? Perhaps this Miss Yor wanted the money for herself. Either way, my client is not involved. Mr. Curry, why were you really in Chandra's room at the time of the attack? I was just looking for her, I swear it. He's sweating so hard the onion is sweating. Why were you looking for her? Does that matter? I have a right to privacy. You don't need to answer that, Oliver. Look, Detective, I don't care what sob story that thief gave you, but you have no grounds to try and pin this on my client. Hannah might be a thief, but she wouldn't simply kill her dearest friend. Let's take my badge on it. You have no proof my client was at that scene of the crime, only at Miss Lear's bedroom. We'll see about that. Mr. Curry, just give us your official statement as to your movements at the time of the crime. Tell them the truth, Oliver, and this will all be over soon. Okay. Oliver Curry's statement. First course, visiting Chandra. Bleh. After finishing breakfast, I decided to speak with Chandra privately. I thought she was in her room, but when I looked, she wasn't there. Looking back, she must have been in the trophy room already. After all, she called the police from the phone in that room, and that's where you found her. Then I passed Mr. Eubank on my way back to the kitchen. That's where I remained until Chandra was found. Yeah. Wait. how would he know for sure? That is true. That's where we think she called from. But she could have called the police from anywhere. Now exactly did her body end up in the trophy room? I shouldn't have to explain this to you, but bodies don't teleport. Maybe the culprit moved the body. You think we wouldn't notice someone dragging a body around the house? Well, you didn't notice somebody getting clocked upside their noggin! Fair point. Still, something doesn't seem quite right about all of this. Thing is, the phone was in the cupboard. Right? Like, it was in the cupboard. It's true, Mr. Curry, that there's a phone in the trophy room. However, Miss Lear couldn't have used that phone. When we checked the trophy room, that phone wasn't even connected anywhere. Preposterous. Huh? How do you know that phone was disconnected prior to the attack? Have you considered that the thief could have done that to try and cover their tracks? Besides, where else could she have called the police from? I'm glad you asked, Mrs. Eubank. Allow me to show you. This is what Miss Lear phoned the police on. Right. Her phone. There's another phone in Miss Lear's own bedroom, which had been damaged, almost like the phone was dropped. The voicemail she left was abruptly cut off when she was attacked. The phone breaking would explain that. Besides which, thinking about it, right, like, why would he hide the phone unless it was to try and confuse the fact that she was calling and where she was calling from? That's complete conjecture, Miss Smith, and you know it. How do you know that Miss Lear's phone wasn't already broken? Miss Lear was in the trophy room. We already know this much. Allow me to explain. Oh, she's such an Edgeworth right now. We've already established that Miss Lear was in the trophy room. Not only is that where her body was found, there's also a solid reason. Owen had asked her during breakfast to clean one of his golf clubs. It's clear she never had a chance to do so, as the thief intercepted her then. But we found club cleaner in her room. So theoretically, she could have taken the club with her to clean it. Let's see if that actually... Will that work? There's no way she could have been cleaning the club in the trophy room. However, Mrs. Eubank is claiming she never had the chance to. I just need to prove her wrong. She had cleaned some of them, hadn't she? Yeah. For someone representing a chef, your argument is half-baked at best. Excuse me? Do you have an argument to make, or are you just trying to insult me? Well, I was just joking. Tough crowd. Better not try that again. We've already established... Okay. Her window was open. What even was what? I don't know. but she... Mrs. Eubank. Chandra was asked to clean that golf club, was she not? She was, but she clearly never got the chance to do so. But there's an issue there. She did. We found the golf club partially cleaned. She must have been interrupted while cleaning it. Well, I suppose you're correct. It's clear the thief attacked her while she was cleaning. My argument stands firm. I wouldn't be so sure, Mrs. Eubank. There's a critical flaw in your theory, and I can prove it. Miss Lear couldn't have cleaned the club in the trophy room, and this is why. Well, she had the stuff in her bedroom. The cleaner for the golf club is found in Chandra's bedroom, not the trophy room. It's clear that Chandra took the golf club into her bedroom and she was cleaning it. As she was cleaning it, she called the police. That's when she was attacked. Hang on, how did you know she didn't just wet a rag with cleaner and take that to the trophy room? Akin to bringing a packet of ketchup instead of an entire bottle. That would be impossible. There's nothing in the trophy room with golf cleaner on it besides the golf club. Then how did the club get downstairs? Why is the cleaner upstairs but not the club? If our culprit wanted to make it seem like the trophy room was the real crime scene, they would need to move the golf club. They brought the club down with Chandra, but since the cleaner was stashed away in her dresser, they likely didn't notice it. Yep. Critically, whoever attacked her must not have realized that Chandra hadn't finished cleaning the club. Completely baseless. This is all nothing more than just a pet theory, and there's one thing you've overlooked during it. And what would that be? You've yet to explain why exactly Miss Lear would call the police from her bedroom. Allow me to explain. If Miss Lear was in her room, why exactly would she call the police? If she was in the trophy room, it's likely that she saw the thief returning to the scene of the crime from the window. What? Therefore, she decided to call the police, fearing the worst. On the other hand, nothing in her room would cause her to call the police. But that's not why she called the police! It says right in the thing that she called them. It says, the message says, like... No, exactly! Like, that doesn't make any sense! The window only unlocks from the inside. She could have had the window open. But why not just shut and lock the window if she saw the thief? People don't act rashly when they're afraid. She must have thought the police were her best option. She doesn't have a point! That's not why she called the police, though! What? Oh. What caused her to call the police? What do you mean what caused her to? Could it be the camera? She called to tell the detective she'd lied, so I don't understand why we're even having this. Mrs. Eubank, were you aware that your husband was spying on Chandra? Excuse me? What on earth are you talking about? But that's a slanderous accusation. Detective, rein your little assistant in before she gets herself into trouble. Go on, Miss Assistant. There's a hidden camera in Chandra's bedroom. When we found it, it was broken. It's clear Chandra had found the camera in her room while she was cleaning, and after breaking it, she decided to call the police. She must have been attacked at that moment while her back was turned. And how do you know my husband put it there? Well, I think my assistant got a little too eager there. Someone certainly put a camera there, and Chandra did break it. But officially, we have no means to trace who put it there. I'm glad that's settled. As for the camera itself, what makes you think she found it today? What if she found it on a different day? It's simple. That's because the camera had cleaner on it. We found some fresh golf cleaner on the camera, the same that we found in her room. She must have had some on her hands when she discovered the camera. If she found the camera any other time, it would have dried up by now. It's clear now that you're going to cling on to this pet theory of yours. But all of this time, you failed to consider that Chandra was not found in her bedroom. Her body was found an entire floor below. Bodies don't teleport, and my client couldn't possibly have moved her. How? What? And why is that? I'll let my client explain. The sheet in the window. Yeah. Right, here goes. Uh-huh. Even if I attacked Chandra, the only exit to her room was the door. Miss Eubank saw me leave the room. He would have noticed me carrying her body. If Mr. Eubank was in Chandra's room the whole time, he would have found her. That is why I couldn't have attacked her. Actually, Mr. Curry, there is another exit. The window. The window? You think I threw out the window and she landed in the room below? You wanted another exit. The window is an exit. If that's your angle, then you really are desperate. It should be obvious why the window couldn't have been used, but allow me to explain it for you. Oh my god. Lady, I'm starting to really dislike you. It's simply impossible that Miss Thayer was moved through the window. A fall from that height would have left noticeable injuries. However, the only injury she had was a head wound. Unless you have some way for her body to move down a story without getting injured, your theory is moot. I mean... Actually, there was a way she could have moved through the window unharmed. We found a bedsheet stuffed away in the trophy room. The sheet itself was covered in dirt, meaning it likely touched the ground outside. After attacking Chandra, Oliver wrapped her in the golf club in the sheet and simply lowered them to the floor below. Hold on. The sheet could have always been there. How do you know it came from Chandra's room? That's easy. This is how we know where the sheet came from. The bed. When we investigated Chandra's room, we found that her bed had been stripped of its sheet. We never found that sheet anywhere, because it was stuffed in the trophy room the whole time. You can't be serious. I am serious. Just look at him. Oliver is clearly strong enough to load Chandra with the sheet. Yeah, I mean, chefs are often pretty strong people. They do some stuff that kind of, you know. It's the only way her body could have been moved. I believe that's all we need to prove that Oliver is the culprit. Enough! Why are you so determined on pinning this crime on me? This whole time, you haven't even considered that your whole case is missing a key ingredient, a motive. Chandra was not only my coworker, but a friend. We were very close, her and I. Why would I attack Chandra? I have no reason to, unless you can provide a motive. You've got no grounds to charge me. A motive, huh? Guess I haven't considered that. Something made Oliver want to attack Chandra. This is it, Justina. Time to drive the nail into his coffin. You want a motive? I've got your motive. The truth is... Okay, so we know that Oliver knew about the involvement in the robbery, first of all. So, am I gonna do a little save? I think it's like one of these two, but I'm not sure which. When we spoke to Fee, she mentioned that she told you about Chandra's involvement in the robbery. It's clear when you found out about this, you attacked her so you could take the money for yourself. Regardless of Chandra's actions, that's completely ridiculous. Chandra didn't even have the money. Her thief accomplice took it. Yeah. I think as actually he wanted to protect his job. It's clear to me, Mr. Curry, that you cared about your job a lot. You made that point abundantly clear when we questioned you earlier. I think you never wanted to attack Chandra, but something happened that left you no choice. Fee told us that she spoke to you about Chandra's involvement in the robbery. I think you went to talk to her about it, and when you noticed her calling the police, you attacked her in the heat of the moment. Answer me one question. What was the weapon? The weapon? We never found the weapon. As I suspected, you never did recover it. The culprit must have taken the weapon with them. If my client was a culprit, you would have surely found the weapon somewhere. Must have hidden it somewhere. I tried calling Detective Swift. Can't find anything there. Then I demand to be released immediately. Without a weapon, you have nothing. Let me make this perfectly clear. If the weapon isn't in the house, it must have been taken. But nobody has left the estate other than the police. There's no way I could have taken a weapon out of the house. I'm not carrying any weapons. You have nothing on me. You're holding it! There is one place none of us has looked. On Oliver himself. According to Detective Swift, the weapon was a flat, blunt object. Just like the frying pan he has now. The same frying pan he arrived at the crime scene with. That's why nobody's found the weapon. Nobody thought to check Sherry. Oliver, we need to test your pan for blood. But why? Just look at it. No blood in sight. You may wash the blood off, but traces can be found with the right tools. Of course, if you're innocent, we wouldn't find anything, right? This is your last chance to confess, Oliver. Once we test that pan, it's over for you. Oliver, please tell me that they're wrong. No, no, no! I can't... Okay? Oliver, how could you? I'm sorry, Ferris. I never intended for any of this to happen. But why? Chandra was family, Oliver. Fee told me that she was hiding in the trophy room when the robbery happened. She told me Chandra was taking money from the safe. I confronted Chandra, and she told me that the money wasn't adding up. She said she was going to expose the Eubanks one way or another. I tried to convince her to change her mind, but she wouldn't listen to me. Then, at breakfast this morning, Owen kept pressuring her. I knew she was afraid. She told me before that she was considering calling the police and confessing to what she did. I went to go talk to her privately about it. But when I entered her room, I heard her on the phone. She was about to confess. I couldn't let her do it. I didn't know what else to do. This job, it meant everything to me. After being rejected everywhere else, I had a real job. If you and Owen were arrested, I would lose the best job I ever had. I couldn't go back to my family. I wasn't thinking, and before I knew it, she was on the floor. I had no choice but to frame the thief. I thought then Chandra would be safe. I took up your defense because I believed in you. I thought you were truly innocent. I trusted you. I'm so sorry, Ferris. After getting his formal confession, Detective Hunt escorted Oliver away. Miss Smith? Before I go, I thought I should apologize for how I acted there. I should be thanking you. Thank me? I thought you would hate me. As painful as it is, if you didn't step in, the wrong person would have been charged for Oliver's crime. It isn't easy, but at least some good came from all this. There is one more mystery hanging around this case. It seems that everyone believes that your husband is embezzling money from the charity. When we spoke to him earlier today, he denied it, but he was clearly spying on Chandra, and he took something from her room. Is it possible that he stole the evidence from her room? Of course not. We've run our business together for years. He would never do that. We even publicly agreed to pay the stolen half out of pocket. Isn't that proof enough? I take it as proof. I really do. But it's Detective Hunt you have to convince. It seems I misjudged you. If you want to accuse my husband, at least be upfront about it. I'm not accusing him. I still think he's innocent. It's just all of this isn't really adding up. I'm going to make sure the police handle my former friend fairly. This conversation is over. I might have stepped on a landmine. Well, she looked pissed. You alright, Justy? I could be better. I keep thinking about where the money went. Might have pushed her too far. Did you just get back? Yep, I headed back here as soon as I could. In any case, let me be the first to say, congrats, you did it. You solved the case. I'm so proud of you and Red. It wasn't just us, your work helped too. You were the key to connecting Owen to the scene. Without that, we never would have known about Oliver's involvement. It's not the traffic cop work, that's grade A detective work. Thank you, Justy. That means a lot. Hey, tell you what, why don't you tag along with me for drinks later? We can have a proper celebration then. Oh, yeah, sure. Great. Zephyr and I'll be waiting when your shift's over. Before that, though, I think there's one person we've forgotten about. Wait in the interrogation room. I gotta go grab bread and the guest of honor. I have a feeling I know who she means. Who's the guest of honor? Ah, the thief. Now that we're all here, I want to give you the news. Monsieur, you're no longer being charged with assault. What about Chandra? She's still recovering from her injuries, but she's woken up. We expect to be able to talk to her tomorrow. Now, of course, the robbery charge isn't being dropped. Both of you will still have to answer for that crime. I expected that, but still. Thank you for finding out who attacked her. I'm truly thankful. I take back what I said earlier. You aren't evil. If you continue to cooperate with our investigation, I'll see if the district attorney can provide you some leniency. Wait, what investigation? Isn't it over? Not yet, Miss Assistant. We still have those embezzlement claims to look into. Sue spoke with the chief. Apparently, they've both agreed to let you continue to be my assistant. If you'll work with me again, we can finally uncover the truth behind everything. I want to believe Mrs. Eubank. Embezzlement is unnecessary for someone wealthy like Mr. Eubank. That doesn't stop them, sweetheart, okay? That doesn't stop them from making crypto coins and NFTs and all sorts of other shit. Trust me. Yet, until I see the answer myself, I can't take her word for it. I'm in. Then let's get back to our desks. We've got a lot of work to get done. I spent the rest of the day doing my actual job. Paperwork. I didn't see much of Detective Hunt. Cyril told me that once the chief found out what happened with Mr. Eubank, he got the biggest dressing down of his career. In the end, the fact we still solved the case is what saved him from demotion, or worse. Today was a day that truly changed my life. I don't know what's in store for me in the future, but I know whatever it is, it'll be far more eventful than I could have imagined. Oh, April 16th, Mystery Time, Office. Hello, sir. Did you need something? Hello, my boy. I'm glad you came. Some information has come onto my desk that I need you to look into. BG Turtles, LLC. I want you to get me everything you can find on this company. Yes, sir. Right away. This would go much smoother without the police snooping around. Oh, he's up to something. He's definitely up to something. It might not be embezzlement, but what is he doing? Okay, real quick, you should probably get the dog food before she loses her teensy little mind. Do you want your dinner? You want your dinner? Yeah? Aww. Your daddy bringing you good dinners? Oh, such a fluffy, cute little thing. There we go. Now she can eat. And we can move on to case 3. And see what we can find out about whatever Eubank is up to. I mean, turtles? March something. Please, I need just a little more time. I'm sorry, but this isn't up for debate. If the chief says it's closed, it's closed. But it's been long enough. We need you working elsewhere. Have the finished case report on my desk by the end of the day. Yes, ma'am. April 24th. Okay. It's only my second week at this job, and I already feel like I've aged 10 years. Yeah! How could so much paperwork pile up so quickly? When I die, I hope I'm reborn into a paperwork-free life. Lucky for Justina, she isn't, like, Chinese. Because they have a whole heaven based with, like, bureaucracy and paperwork. If she's decided that the paperwork is too much, that one would be rough. Can you imagine that? You spend your life on paperwork, and finally, you end your life and you go to heaven, and it's just sort of like, oh, hey, guess what? You're gonna be doing more paperwork. Oh no.
That would be awful.
Are you monologuing to yourself again? Miss Earl, I'm ready for the new day. That's the spirit. I wanted to tell you, Chandra was finally released from the hospital. She's waiting in the interrogation room. As much as I would have loved to have you do the job you were actually hired for, this is more important. Everyone else is already waiting, so get going. Look, I know she's my boss, but Sue's a little bit of a hear me out in this, I feel. I don't know, maybe it's the hair. Yes, ma'am. Welcome to our little get-together, Miss Assistant. Chandra, this is Justina Smith, my assistant for this investigation. Nice to meet you, Miss Smith. Why does she got her duster with her, though? Like, you wouldn't take that with you. You probably wouldn't wear your maid outfit either. Like, come on. No, the chef had his pen because he literally apparently never lets it go. But being a chef and being a maid are not the same thing. You are not going to find a maid who's as attached to her duster as a chef to his pan. Okay? You know, in reality, the hierarchy of the rich person's house, that the chef is way above the maid. Nice to meet you, Miss Smith. Miss, you already confessed to your involvement in the robbery, so we can skip over that. However, she also claimed that you believe the Eubanks were siphoning off money from the charity fund. Do you have any evidence for this alleged embezzlement? I do. I keep all my records in my room behind the wallpaper. Unfortunately, we already checked there. All I found there was your passport and some unrelated documents. That's impossible. Someone must have taken it. Reason to believe that Mr. Eubank may have taken something from your room. If you had proof, that's likely what he took. This is slanderous. You have no proof of any of these claims. It's clear she never had any evidence of the supposed embezzlement. You dropped this while you're ahead, Detective. We're perfectly within our bounds to investigate these claims. If you intend to interfere, you can exit the room. Nothing more to say? Good. Chandra, we'll need to get your official statement on these matters. I'll tell you everything I know. I kept track of the donors to the Claus charity, as well as the accounting. After doing the math, roughly 25,000 alms were missing from the charity money. That money was redirected to a shell company called BG Turtles LLC. It's not Owen. He was asking his assistant to look up to find out more about BG Turtles LLC. If it was his shell company, he would have already known. If we didn't grab the media's attention, it would have gone completely unnoticed. Do you know why the money was missing? No, but I couldn't find any legitimate reason for the money to have been transferred like that. I hope you realize, without any evidence, all we have here is your testimony. And your testimony doesn't exactly give us much to work off of. Nevertheless, we intend to investigate these claims. You can't be serious. She's already proven herself as unreliable, and you're going to take her word on the matter? We're going to find out the truth behind this, Mrs. Eubank. Surely you should have no problem with that. With that, I believe we can conclude this little meeting. Fine, then I'll be leaving. Chandra, I'm afraid to say that, as of now, you're officially terminated from your job. Okay, well, somebody just went to the top of my suspect list, at least. I know you've been through a lot, but we have no other choice. You can collect your things when this is over. Wait! She stormed off in a hurry. I can't say I expected anything else. Embezzlement or not, I still committed a crime. I hope they fired the chef, too. I suppose I deserve this. If it means anything, I promise we will see this through to the end. We should go, Justina. I hate to just leave, but it's best we get going. Please tell me leaving the interrogation room with a sense of guilt isn't normal. You should only feel guilty if you've done something wrong. We have nothing to be ashamed of. Sue will look after Chandra for now. We have a case to solve. We barely have anything to go on. How do we even investigate this? If couldn't find anything at the Eubank estate. That means the next best place to look would be the orphanage itself. But if the orphanage was involved, doesn't that mean it's possible there was no embezzlement? Mr. Eubank could have been holding onto the money for safekeeping. We'll have to keep an open mind. Either way, the orphanage should contain all the answers we need. So, are you ready to go? Yes, sir. I don't quite see how it... Hold on, just a minute, you two. Miss Earl, what is it? If you're going to the orphanage, you'd better take a look at this first. How did you... She knows everything that goes on in this station. What do you have for us? Do you remember that vandalized car report from last month? Of course I remember. That's a face of pure guilt if I've ever seen one. On March 14th, the orphanage director was involved in a crash after the brakes on his car failed. Oh, right, that case. Wasn't it Sophie assigned to that? She was. The landlady reported that the brakes in Bill's car were vandalized by an unknown person. However, she never found the culprit. The director ended up asking for the charges to be dropped after he failed to turn anything up. You know, brakes don't usually just randomly fail. Usually if something's wrong with your brakes, like, naturally wrong with them too, I'm pretty sure you have, like, some signs of that, so... Why didn't you help, Detective? She was promoted earlier that month. It was her first big case, and I wanted her to solve it on her own. Otherwise, she'd just think that it was all me. I see. Poor Sophie. The case might be closed, but it's a good reason to reach out to Bill. I suggest you keep the embezzlement to yourself until you can figure out what they know. Detective Swift and I will see what we can dig up on BG Turtles in the meantime. Shouldn't she be joining us? The car crash was her case. That's why she can't. The case is closed. You're not there to solve it, it's your cover. But still, to make myself clear. Yes, ma'am. Here's the case report. It should get you up to speed on things. Thanks for digging this up for us. All I did was find the file. If anyone asks, you asked me to find it for you. Oh, and Justina, when you solve this case, take it easy on the drinking. I know what you and Sophie got up to after these cases. How did you... Oh, forget it. That's Sue for you. Now, let's get going. It's impossible to keep anything a secret around here. Not with her around. Sue really does know everything. Klaus off. Why is the orphanage a hotel room? A hotel. This is like cheap. This is Motel 8. Why is the orphanage in a Motel 8? I thought we were going to the orphanage. This looks like... Okay, it's not just me. It looks like a motel. It used to be. Eubank Investments helped convert the old motel into an orphanage a few years ago. At the time, it was the orphanage's only choice, so they took it. You sure do know a lot about this place. The director and I go way back. I met him back in high school. We can talk about that later. Let's head over to his office. Okay, well, let's see what we got. Okay, so we don't have a whole lot about this. Here we go. 5 weeks ago, on March 14th, around 2 p.m., police were notified of a car accident at the Klaus orphanage. Bill Klaus, the orphanage's director, crashed into a tree after a brake failure. Our investigation found that the brake had been purposefully tampered with, classifying the case as attempted homicide. A witness reported seeing an unknown suspect fleeing the scene around the time of the accident. However, our investigation failed to conclusively identify the culprit. You know, I'm really liking this game, actually. I'm very sort of, ooh, what's next? What's gonna happen next? I'm still thinking about Chandra. Watching her get fired like that, it was rough. Well, I certainly don't hold much for respect for the Eubanks, but you could tell Miss Eubank didn't want to do that. I don't know if I believe her about anything, but if you were in their shoes, would you fire her? No, I wouldn't. I'd give her a second chance. What about you? I think I'd have to. She broke their trust, justified or not. Can't really recover from that. Well, all we can do now is solve this case to ensure her firing wasn't in vain. Yeah, we'll do it for Chandra. But I mean, she did it. The reason she did it was because she wanted to get attention on it. She wasn't, like, necessarily planning to, you know, take the money and go to Acapulco, you know, so, like... Director's office. Hello? Anyone home? Ernest, what are you doing here? Bill, good to see you. Let me introduce you to my assistant. Justina, this is Bill Klaus, director of the Klaus Orphanage. Bill, this is Justina, the newest member at the precinct. Nice to meet you. Congratulations on joining the force. Thanks. Do I seriously look like a police officer? Back on topic. Why are you here? Can't an old friend just say hi? You never come here just to say hi, Ernest. What do you want? You got me. I'm here about the accident last month. We never did catch the culprit, so I wanted to change that. Not this again. Look, Ernest, I already told the police to drop it. It's water under the bridge now. Why? Why would you want... Somebody tried to murder you and you're telling them to drop it? Why? That's not water under the bridge. That's attempted murder. I'm not here as a police officer, but as a friend. Yeah, somebody must have, said something. Threatened him. Something. Someone almost killed you. I'm not letting them get off scot-free. I'm kind of impressed at how we can lie about our real reason. Justina, have you not figured this out yet? He is totally also investigating that case. It's supposed to be our cover, but he's absolutely looking for the culprit. This man, I mean, I have to say, I like he's got this intense sense of justice, and I really like it. Then why wait a month? And he saw right through it. This isn't really my jurisdiction. I'm not supposed to be investigating this. I guess you could say that I finally entered my loose cannon cop phase. I mean, as long as you're, the kind of loose cannon cop who's actually doing good things. I mean, if he keeps going at this rate, he's gonna have to quit, because he's not gonna be nearly enough of a bastard to be a cop anymore. Loose cannon cop phase. If I acted too quickly, the chief would throw the book at me. But he's likely forgotten about this case by now. Fine, whatever. I believe you. I really don't have much to say about the matter, but I'll tell you what I told the last detective. I'd just gotten out of the meeting with the landlady when I headed out for my car. Meg was fixing it up for me. I didn't see her around, so I figured she was done. Barely left the parking lot before the brakes failed and I crashed. Thankfully, I was driving slowly, so I wasn't hurt badly. Can't say the same for my car, though. I've been able to drive it since. Interesting. Meg. You mean your Meg was working on it? Yep. All those years working with the landlady is paying off. Who's Meg? When Bill set this whole place up, she was one of the first kids here. I never thought I'd see her all grown up. She still doesn't want to go to college. She just wants to work in some mechanic shop. Keep telling her that she's capable of more, but she won't listen. Let her live before she becomes old and crusty like us. Speak for yourself. I'm still strong as an ox. Besides, in this the world to stay, if she's got, an applicable skill, like mechanic, she might as well just go with it, because then she's got a job she can do and no student debt. You could be too if you ever join me at the gym. If the gym ever gets robbed, I'll be there right away. Until then, a detective job is never done. Right. Always with the excuses, Ernest. Well, since you're here, I suppose we can stay for a while. You can stay. Yeah. It's not much, but it is home. Okay. Let's take a look around here. Excuse the mess, I haven't had time to tidy things up. It's like a teenager's bedroom. Could help you clean up. No, I'll get to it later. So, never? No comment. Let's see, looks like the orphanage's ledger expenses for last month were 15,000 alms, and he paid them all on time. My dad could learn or two about record keeping. Better write this down before I get caught snooping. Okay. I think he may be both of us. This paint... Oh. No! This painting looks familiar. Yeah, we saw it! Oh, Chandra had the same painting in her room. Hey, Bill, where'd you get this? It was a gift from the Eubanks. It had some cheesy line attached to it. With hard work and diligence, anyone can soar to great heights. Priceless coming from a family born from wealth. Oh, honey. Oh, I love you. It's like someone stuffed with food, wondering how anyone could go hungry. I'm starting to, I think I know why he's wearing a red coat. I'm starting to, yeah. Oh, good comrade Ernest. As tone deaf as it may seem, it's inspiring for the kids. I, for one, would like to think we can live in a world where that's true. I guess that explains why it's mass-produced. Maybe Chandra keeps the painting in her room for the same reason. That's a nice-looking TV. It was part of the motel before we moved in. There's one just like it in every room. Must be tough getting kids to focus on homework with all those TVs around. That's what I thought, but all that's on them is public access and the news. Turns out, the landlady's family never paid for more than the most basic cable package. Now I feel bad for them. Got a lot of sticky notes here. They're called sticky notes for a reason. He's been stuck to them for his entire life. It's a small price to pay in order to keep track of everything. We've got receipts here from last month. Talk about organized. I don't remember the last time I kept a receipt for something. Oh, he's one of those, like, certain things are highly organized and everything else is a mess. So, in that respect, he's a lot like me. My writing files, all organized. My anything else? Nope. Whenever Meg or I order anything, I keep the receipts for at least 3 months. Looks like she ordered brakes at 1:15 p.m. on the day of the accident. I better write that down. Leaving trash on the floor. Even my teenage room was cleaner than this. Okay, we get it, Justina. You're better than us. Wait, what's this? Red line insurance. Just throw it in the trash can. It's worthless. Isn't insurance important? It's who I get my car insurance from. They refused my claim for repairs after the crash. Why? It's not your fault. Try telling them that. They used every trick in the book to make it seem like I was irresponsible. So I gave up. Kids take care of it and other life obligations. I don't have time to fight a claim like this. But you shouldn't give up. It's your car. Unfortunately, that's how they get you. Wear you down until it's too much of a hassle to keep going. People at Red Line might as well be running an organized crime ring. Doesn't matter anyways. I was able to get the money together to repair the car myself. I feel bad for Bill. Hope we can settle this soon. Keep note of this letter. And yes, insurance in the US can absolutely be like that, so... Hey, it's a spinny chair! We have some in the office, but this one looks way more cozy. If you have to sit on a chair all day, you need something good to support your back. Word. I have an ergonomic, so yeah. This is the best investment in my life. Hey, detective, you think Sue could get us these chairs? I think that would require you to stay at your desk for more than an hour. Well, it was worth a shot. Okay. Found out some interesting things. Why did you ask the police to drop the case? Don't you want us to catch the person who caused it? To tell you the truth, I already know who did it. You do? I thought... Bill, if Swift says the kid didn't do it, he didn't do it. Hold on, what kid? Just some kid from the area. He went to school with Meg and graduated last year. When rumor went around about the crash, he took credit for the thing. And you're only saying this now? Why wouldn't you want him arrested? Detective Swift had already looked into him. He's nothing more than a graffiti artist. If he says he did it, he did it. Why? People say shit all the time that isn't true. But nevertheless, a lot of employers turn people down for a criminal record, no matter how small. I don't want to ruin the kid's life. If he didn't actually do it, then why take credit for it? How about we find out? Sophie wrote down where he hangs out. Let's go pay him a visit. Okay. Interesting. Why are you so against Meg being a mechanic? Sounds to me like she found her passion in life. She's capable of so much more. Her grades prove it. She could attend the best college in the city. Oh, good, because that'll make her debt better. But instead, she just wants to work on cars all day. She only found her passion because of this chance you gave her. Isn't that a success? You know, my parents were pretty adamant that I go to art school when I graduated. They're both artists, so it made sense to them. They thought I had a lot of potential for it. I didn't want to disappoint them, so I did it. I like art, and I've learned a lot, but ultimately it wasn't for me. And now all I have to show for it is a degree I'll never use. And my actual job is the furthest thing from art you can get. If you push Meg to go to college for something she doesn't have any drive for, she'll just be wasting her time. Time she could be spending pursuing her true dream. I suppose you have a point. give it some thought. I wanted to ask, why open an orphanage in a motel? It's so unusual. It is, but this is an important location. It's in the walking distance of both Whitehall Academy and the Church of the First Lotus. Providing a good academic and spiritual education took priority over everything else. Whitehall Academy. It's a pretty prestigious school, the best one in the city. It admits all grades. Plus, it's free for anyone who passes the rigorous entrance exam. Okay. And all the children here go there. Yep, I created this orphanage specifically for children who could attend Whitehall. Like, I don't mean this as an offense to orphans, because none of that is their fault. But it's not very common for them to be in a situation where they even could do the sort of studying and work that would get them into such a school, I'm pretty sure. I mean, unfortunately, maybe in some countries it is. Unfortunately, in the US, the whole system is a mess. So this is a little weird, because, yeah, that's atypical. You're probably not gonna find a whole lot of places where a school of that level of prominence just takes certain people as long as they pass the exam as well. Yeah. But, well, that does actually beg the question, though. Does he only take orphans who are, like, hard workers, studying and stuff, and just reject the others? Like, what does that mean exactly? Because that would be pretty gross to do. When I met brilliant children like Megan, I wanted to provide that opportunity for them. Any child with the aptitude could come and stay here. So, it's just, I don't... The thing is, that cuts out, like, for example, so many types of kids, including kids with, like, learning disabilities, that may not be able to pass a test, not because they're not smart enough, but because a lot of times with learning disabilities, you have some disadvantage, like, you just don't do well on time tests, things like that. Don't generally test well, so... not the best. Why set up an orphanage just to be close to a school? Can't the kids just live wherever and still go to Whitehall? In theory, yes. In practice, no. Before coming here, some of the kids lived over an hour away, excluding traffic. The time adds up, and most would rather go to closer school. To them, school is school, each one the same. But it's not, where you learn impacts your whole life. Bill speaks from experience. He lived outside the city, but still showed up early every day. It was like he slept in the school. Unlike you, who practically ran into class right before the bell rang. Every single day. Hey, I still got perfect attendance. But if anyone knows the importance of a short commute, it'd be him. It may seem small, but for these kids, it gives them the time I wish I had. In any case, this was the only place I could get, so I buckled down and got it. Might have seemed crazy at first, but we made it work. The landlady could give you more details. She's in her office today. She's in a meeting right now, but knowing you, you won't let that stop you. When you want to head there, Miss Assistant, let me know. Yeah, like, that's sort of weird. Church of the First Lotus, huh? I forgot the Church of the First Lotus was near here. My parents often used to take me there when I was younger. Getting the kids to attend is the hardest part. Most of them try to avoid coming if they can. I mean, what even is the Church of the First Lotus? I say let them choose if they want to or not. You're wasting your time if you force them. Are you not religious, sir? Religion and I don't get along. I respect our real faithful, but you won't see me step inside a church willingly. The gods can afford having one less faithful among us. I mean, it's pretty clear this isn't our world, but yeah. You shouldn't say that. Your next life might be as a flower or a bee if you're not careful. Ernest never joined us at the church when we were younger. Even if he starts now, the best he'll get is a fish. I'll take my chances. Just promise me that if you see a handsome fish in your next life, you won't eat it. Hey then! Interesting. I didn't know that so many kids were capable of going to such a fancy school. I certainly couldn't. My child was been struggling for a passing grade. There's a lot of children that, because of their circumstances, can't live up to their true potential. Yes. Orphan children, in particular, are pretty vulnerable to being ignored by the system. Also true. People don't think much about education for these kids. They think all they need to do is wait until they're adopted, thinking little about what happens if they aren't. That's why I fight against being a traditional orphanage. I want to break that stereotype. They all deserve a bright future, and I intend to give it to them. Now I feel bad for the kids who can't make it in. You're not alone, but Whitehall thankfully offers tests for all grades year-round. Okay, but even then, so if they fail once, they can always try again next time. The Klaus orphanage might seem strange, but there are a few places with such lofty goals. I hope one day this place becomes the standard, not the exception. I mean, I hope that, you know, we are not, you know, picking our orphans based on their ability to pass a test into a fancy school, though, because, you know, some of them will never be able to do that. Just putting that out there doesn't mean they're not worthwhile. I hope so, too. No wonder he was upset about the robbery. This place means so much to him. Yeah, academic performance determines whether you sleep under a roof. That's not the best. I don't think that's what they're trying for here, but that is how it ends up sounding. So do we want to see the landlady or this kid who supposedly did the thing with the brakes? Okay. Looks like no one's here at the moment. Should go explore other areas more and come back here later. Okay, well, I guess we're going to the landlady's office. This is quite the office. Ah, it's you two again. What? Okay, come on, guys. How many conflicts of interests is there going to be? Also, why wasn't I warned about this? Ferris? What are you doing here? Okay, so she's not the actual landlady, maybe? My husband and I wanted to make sure our relationship with the Klaus orphanage remains intact. Okay, she's not the actual landlady. That's something. I'm not going to stand around while you drag our company's name through the mud. You can even say that they want to make your company disappear. What the hell is this? This is such a, well, Ace Attorney thing to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wondrous office of the world's greatest illusionist, Maggie Shawn. Hang on, your office, you're the landlady. She's not at all what I expected. Sure am. Now, pick a card. I hate to ruin the magic, but her real name is Annie Card. Pick a card, Annie Card. No! 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 Why would you do that? How dare you! How dare you! No! Her parents owned the motel before the orphanage was set up. Ferris, I told you to call me by my stage name. Spent a whole night coming up with it. It's nice to meet you, Maggie Shawn, world's greatest illusionist. I'm Justina Smith, world's greatest police clerk. Aha! I knew you were a cop. My magical intuition told me so. Police clerk isn't... My magical intuition also says you're here to talk about some kind of embezzlement claim. Impressive. Your magical intuition is right yet again. I told Annie... Maggie! You know, this office is quite cluttered. Perhaps on second thought, Annie is fine for now. Right. As I was saying, I told Annie about it. If there are any bad apples here, she would know. In that case, what can you tell us about the charity? Well, I can give you the basic rundown. Eubank Investments raises money for the orphanage each year in accordance with the national charity standards. Any money raised by the Klaus charity can only be used directly for the orphanage. Each year, an audit takes place to ensure money is properly handled. Over the past 5 years we've raised money, we haven't failed a single audit. You lawyers sure know how to say very little with a lot of words. Anything more would be against the interests of Eubank Investments. Say, Annie, have you ever heard of BG Turtles? If you pick a card, I'll tell you. We know nothing about that, I assure you. Stop ruining my tricks! Oh well, it was worth asking. Since we're here, do you mind if we ask you about the car crash last month? Oh, that? I thought Bill decided to drop it. We're here to investigate that matter as well. Seems like a waste of time, but whatever. What do you want to know? Can you tell us where you were before the crash? Sure thing. I had a meeting with Bill around 1:30 p.m. that day. We took a break about 10 minutes later and I showed off one of my tricks. We finished up around 1:50 p.m. and that's when Bill headed out. I saw someone running away from the building around then, but I couldn't make out who it was. Then, moments later, like magic, boom! Bill crashed his car. Uh-huh. Thank you, Annie. Do you mind if we look around a bit? Excuse you, but we're in a meeting right now. Perfect! You can keep talking while we look around. I don't mind. I got nothing to hide. Just don't go around trying to figure out my magic secrets. Mission never reveals those. Okay, let's take a look around. Looks like a box of videotapes. That's where I store the recordings of different magic tricks. I like to watch famous magicians perform tricks so I can study how they do it. It's like playing detective, watching the video over and over until I figure it out. Watching a video again and again sounds like the worst type of detective work. Magic is all about misdirection. It's really easy to make people focus on one hand while you do something else with the other. Once you spot the sleight of hand, you feel like a genius. If Detective Hunt ever makes me do this, I'm going back to management. What's in all the boxes? Oh, those are just some car parts I'm saving for Meg. Her birthday's coming up, so I got her some parts to upgrade her ride. Aren't car parts a bit of a strange gift? Not to Meg. Her car means everything to her. She got an old rust bucket of a car for free, and she turned it into her biggest project yet. Over the years, she's managed to completely rebuild it. It went from not running at all to running better than my own car. She was finally able to drive it for the first time about 2 weeks ago. There's nothing I could get her that she'd like more. Speaking of Meg, is she here today? Yeah, she's still working on Bill's car. What do you mean? She's been fixing it up in her free time since the accident. She's still missing some parts that Bill has to order, but she's been working on everything else in the meantime. If you want to see her, she's in the garage. Sure, I'd love to meet her. Better write down what she said. Okay. I remember these magic tricks. I saw them all the time as a kid. They're pretty simple, but the kids still love them. Never hurts to practice the basics. Want to see one? Maybe after we finish the case. What a quaint little window. Whose car is that? That would be mine. That's yours? But it's so modest. I figured you drive around some kind of expensive sports car or 5-mile-long limo. Do you also think I swim in a pool of gold in my free time? Well, never mind. Well, whatever. Write this down anyways. I see you're interested in my magic box. Anyway, it's part of the grand trick I'm unveiling at my next show. What kind of trick? If you take a card, I might say. The artist starts off with his hands free, but suddenly they're tied up. She then steps inside while tied up in rope and walks out completely free. Well, that's an old one. They used to use that with seances and stuff like that. There was one, it was like these two brothers, I think, maybe? I don't know. But there were people that used these cabinets like this, and they would be tied up, and they'd go inside, and stuff would happen, and you'd be like, "Oh, all these noises and stuff, it can't be them, they're tied up." But they knew how to get out of the ropes and stuff, so they would get out of the ropes while they were in there. They would make all these noises, make it seem like there was a ghost, and they'd get back into the ropes before the door was opened, and hey presto, haunting. I know some weird stuff. What? I want to see. Stop spoiling the fun! That's the last time I show you a trick ahead of time. Don't blame me, blame yourself. But I want to see the trick. Still, you must be pretty excited about that show. I am. It's always been my dream to go on tour with my magic. Oh, but this is just a local show. With all my responsibilities here at the orphanage, I can't really up and leave when I want to. So I consider the show to be like a practice run. Let's see. You wouldn't know it by looking at it. There seems to be some wheels hidden underneath it. I can move it around pretty easily like this. Looks like the back of the cabinet is loose. I think she can get through there. What are you doing? You're ruining the magic! Detective can't leave any stone unturned, Miss Assistant. Oh well, too late now. Might as well add it to the evidence. So, what sort of tricks do you use these cards for? There's a special one I like to play with the kids. We play poker, and I make their lunch money disappear. Sorry, what? You gamble with kids? Only kidding. We just play every Friday for fun, no money involved. It's the one day of the week they get to learn some real life skills. After all, if you know how to read a face, you can take on the world. That's a unique life skill. Okay. I heard Bill's side of it, but why rent this motel to an orphanage? It's pretty simple, really. My family left me in charge of this place around 7 years ago. We all knew it wasn't going to last. Nobody really wanted a cheap room in this bustling city anymore. Then land prices went up and property tax along with it. I just couldn't afford to keep this place any longer. So after 2 years, I was desperately looking for a way out. That's when I met Bill. Bill came to Ubig Investments looking for property for an orphanage. However, he couldn't afford to buy anything outright. We drafted an agreement where Annie would keep ownership of the motel, but with the Klaus Orphanage as the exclusive renter. So only the Klaus Orphanage can rent here? So long as they keep paying rent, the Klaus Orphanage can stay. I drafted the lease myself. It was more solid than liquid ginger and nettle tea. No wonder her tea keeps lighting on fire. Ugh! Why would you drink that? Ugh! That's worse than British tea! I actually have a copy of the lease here. You can take a look at it. Okay, the lease agreement between the motel and the Klaus Orphanage, under which the Klaus Orphanage cannot be evicted except for unpaid rent. What's your relationship with Bill like? In a professional sense, he's a great tenant. I've never had any problems with him. He's always paid the rent on time, and he covers the maintenance. In return, his rent is dirt cheap. You won't find a better deal anywhere else in the city. Lucky Bill. My landlord just raised my rent again. In a personal sense, I'd consider him a good friend. He always runs by his plans for the orphanage with me, and I show him my latest tricks. Plus, having him around means I get to play with the kids. If it wasn't for Bill, I would have sold this place off a long time ago. Sounds like they have a pretty good relationship. So tell me, what got you into magic? Poker, of course. Poker? Yeah, I used to play with my family back in the day. Once they left, I didn't have anyone to play with till the kids came. So I taught them all how to play one night, and now it's a tradition. Then one night I decided to show them a card trick my dad taught me, and it was a hit. They kept begging me to show them more tricks, so I learned more. That's how I fell in love with the art, and the stage magic was the natural evolution. She's a natural. I got to see one of her tricks with Bill once, and she blew my socks off. So what kind of magic can you do? I do plenty, but sleight of hand is my favorite. Care for a demonstration? I don't know. Card tricks seem a bit too childish. Hey! What work goes into these tricks, you know? Relax, Annie. You can't please everyone. Sorry, I didn't mean anything against you, but I just don't really get it, personally. Okay. We made her a little mad. You brought up before that Bill passed every audit. Do you happen to have proof of that? That kind of information is on a need-to-know basis. You need a pass to... Well, I can tell you that he always paid his rent on time. Always from the orphanage's account, never a penny short. Here, I can show you. Annie, you don't just give out information like that. I'm just trying to help. Don't listen to her. Your help is appreciated. Well, it certainly does make our lives easier. If this is the sort of thing Ferris wants to hide from us, it has to be important. Better write it down. Well. How are things back at the estate? Must be different with Oliver and Chandra gone. Our home is shaken, but we are recovering. We've already started the search for their replacements. Cold. In fact, my husband and I have already found a prospective new chef. We plan to interview them tomorrow. I see. How about Fee? It must be quite the adjustment for her. You have no business to be discussing my daughter. I guess she's still upset with me. I was just asking how the kid was. Jeez. Okay. Let's see if we can find Meg. So this is the garage, huh? It doubles as the maintenance room. I wonder if Meg's here. Hey, Ernest. What you doing here? Just here to check up on Bill. I wanted to know if his recovery was going well. Oh, I've got myself an assistant since the last time I was here. This is Justina Smith, my very own protege. By protege, he means I have to lug around all the evidence and drive him everywhere. That, my dear student, is how you learn. Nice to meet you, Justina. I'm Megan Konecki, but you can just call me Meg. Pleasure to meet you, Meg. Do you work here? Yep. I do all of the maintenance here, though at the moment I've been preoccupied with Bill's car. I'm a mechanic too, you know. You seem a little young to be a mechanic. I'm perfectly old enough. I just turned 18. I just got a lot of talent. I even made this helmet myself. What you think? Cool, huh? Hold on. Aren't those supposed to cover your entire face? Hey, it's still a work in progress. Looks great to me. Anyways, while we were here, we wanted to see if we could finally solve the mystery behind Bill's accident. I really don't think you should worry about it. It's just a harmless prank, after all. Harmless? Bill could have died! I don't think it was meant to be that serious. What do you mean? Well, kids here get bullied a lot, so I think it was just someone who wanted to mess with us and got a little carried away. I don't think any good is going to come out of making a big deal of it. It's better to just let it go. I understand how you feel, but Bill is my friend. Intentional or not, he could have gotten really hurt. I'm not going to rest until I solve it. Hang on. Isn't this just our cover story? Why is he so into this all of a sudden? What do you mean all of a sudden? Justina, this man has made it very clear who he is. I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but come on. Well, whatever. I'll just go along with it for now. All I want is to know what happened that day. Can you tell us where you were? Alright, but I don't have much to say. I was working on Bill's car the day of the crash, just fine-tuning some things. I didn't notice any major issues, so I went on break at 1:45 p.m. By the time I got back, Bill was already in the car, and he took off. He had an issue with the brakes, and next thing I knew, he had crashed into a tree. Made sure Bill was safe. I couldn't say the same for his car, though. It was in pretty bad shape. I'm working on fixing it up. Just waiting on a few more parts, and I'll be good as new. So the culprit must have tampered with the brakes during your break? Brakes. I feel like I'll be saying these words a lot today. Yeah, my break is 15 minutes long, so that would have been plenty of time to pull it off. Still, that suggests to me that this was planned. Someone waited until they knew there wouldn't be anyone around the car. That would also mean the culprit must have known the hours you work. Who knows about your schedule? I mean, it's not much of a secret. All the kids know, and so do Bill and Annie. Let's see. I also do part-time work at a mechanic shop. The coworkers there know my schedule as well. I can't believe she's doing so much at 18. I can barely handle this one job, and I'm 4 years older than her. It doesn't seem like we'll be able to narrow it down with just that, then. Say, Meg, do you mind if we poke around in here for a bit? I don't mind, but the accident was a month ago. I'm not really sure what you expect to find. Yeah. I know, but... Interesting. Something is really off here. If she was working until 1:45... I want to gather some more evidence before I try and poke at that, but something seems to be up here. Yeah, they don't add up. What an interesting car. I take it this is Bill's car? Sure is. I'll fully repaired and back to its former glory soon. I'm glad you kept the original paint color. Still yellow as always. This thing always takes me back. Bill and I used to ride this baby for miles. I don't understand why you'd want a yellow car. It's hideous. What did yellow cars ever do to you? I never care about what's on the outside. It's the internals that matter to me. Good engine is what makes a car, and the engine on this one is a thing of beauty. They don't make them like this anymore. Still, this car looks great. I'd never be able to tell it got into a wreck. You did a great job repairing it. What's left to do? Just waiting on a few more parts to come in. Bill already paid me for all the work. This car's a classic, so it needs special parts that are hard to get. It's hard to find a good deal. Plus, the parts take forever to show up. Write this down. Okay. That's also very interesting, because obviously I can't speak to this world, but in our world, you don't want to leave a car like that unsecured. I don't know if you recall this. My uncle always has this wheel lock on his car. And that's because way back when one of his old cars was broken into, because it was that sort of car where there were parts that were valuable. And my uncle, being my uncle, decided that from then on he would put a locking bar on the wheel of every car he had, like clockwork, because that's how my uncle is. I think maybe my uncle should perhaps be checked for OCD, because he's got some really fairly serious tendencies. But, well, yeah, there are a few signs. What a lonely looking box, all alone in the corner. Oh yeah, that's where I keep my spare rope. What do you need rope for? It comes in handy for a lot of things. It's good to have on hand. This one looks all short and frayed. Some of these other ones are all knotted together. Huh, that's weird. Could have sworn I still had a long spool of rope in there. Stuff is useless for me in that state. I guess I'll have to go buy some more. Okay, who's been doing the rope work? I mean, it's probably just that the magician is using them for, like, practice or something, but that sounded very, I'll move on. For now, I'll take note of it. I'm not talking about an 18-year-old, but somebody was clearly borrowing. Yeah. You know what? Let's not even go there. Got a lot of tools here. Yep, got everything we need to fix this place up. Wrenches, nuts, bolts, chainsaws. Chainsaws? That make trimming the trees way more fun. That sounds really dangerous. It's completely safe with this helmet. It may be harder to see, but I don't have to worry about anything hitting my face. That makes it even worse! Oh hey, I remember this thing. What's it called again? It's called a dolly. My dad had one that I rode all the time as a kid. I'd take it to the top of the hill and then roll down. I never knew you were a daredevil. I was, briefly. Then my sister ratted me out to my parents. So, what do you use this thing for? It makes getting under cars a lot easier. It's also nice for moving heavy stuff around. Maybe using it like a toy was a bad idea. Yeah, there is that. What's with all the spray paint? Spray paint gets a bad reputation, but it's cheap and versatile. I used this stuff a lot back in high school, so I'm a bit of an expert. Back in high school, she says, as if she's not just freshly 18. Looks like some of these are labeled FN? Those belong to someone I used to know. Just throw them away. Something happen? It's nothing. I'll write that down. Uh-huh. Hey, detective, a stepladder. It sure is. Let's move on. Hold on. It could be important. It's just a stepladder. Those are never important. Says you. Maybe the stepladder is the key to solving the case. Oh, really? I'd love to hear your theory. Well, maybe they... Oh, no, that doesn't work. Why don't you think about it while we investigate? And if you think it's important, then we'll come back here straight away. Fine, but if I'm right, you owe me a latte. Oh my god. It's gonna be freaking Chekhov's freaking stepladder. And if I'm right, I'll buy you a latte. This seems like a very one-sided bet. I actually got an achievement for examining that thing. Okay. What was it like growing up here? Certainly a unique environment. Sure is. It took some getting used to, that's for sure. But I really liked the other kids that were here. We were all sort of like one big family. It was kind of a father figure to us. Still is, I guess. What did you do for fun? Well, you didn't hear this from me, but sometimes we'd pull some pranks on Bill. Just harmless fun. One time I swapped around the wiring in his car. That's not harmless! The look on his face when the AC dial started changing the radio? Priceless. Oh. I mean, at least it's only the AC and the radio, but that's still not, you know. Note to self, don't let Meg near the cruiser. So what do you think of Bill? He's nice, if not a bit overbearing. So he's going on about school and church. But he loves kids, and he loves what he does. Growing up here wasn't always easy, but it could have been a lot worse. Sounds like a pretty good guy. Yeah, if only quit trying to make me go to college. He'll come around. It's just hard for him to accept that college isn't for everyone. I know how that is. My dad was the same way. Car brakes. How could someone have messed up the brakes? Weren't you here all day? I left the garage unattended during my break. Perfect time for someone to come. I take my brakes over by my old room. Part of me really misses living here. I can't blame you. I moved out of my parents' place, but I visit them so often that I forget I ever left. Oh, to be young. Back in my day, I couldn't wait to move out. You say that like you're an old man. You're still in your 30s. Years in the force make you feel older. So, how did you end up becoming a mechanic? Funnily enough, from Annie. When I moved in 5 years ago, I saw her working on her car. Turns out, she'd been working with machinery since she was a kid. I started watching her, and we bonded over it. Huh, I thought she was just a magician. She's both. It's how she learned to make her own stage tools. So after getting the basics from her, I started learning more on my own. That's how I got here. I just wish Bill would be more supportive. Bill's a bit of a hardhead, but he does it out of love. Just show him how happy this makes you, and he'll turn around. I don't suppose this kid is here now. Okay, so I guess we need to poke at some things. She said... But... Okay, let's see if this is at all... You know, Meg, Bill likes to keep a lot of receipts and records lying around in his office. We found this in his room. You ordered a brand new pair of brakes at 1:15 p.m. just before the accident. If there weren't any issues with the car, why would you order a pair of brakes? Well, I'm surprised he still has that. Bill's pretty bad at throwing away things. Mind explaining why you ordered those brakes? Well, look, I can explain. Those brakes weren't for Bill's car. I ordered them for my own car. The brakes had worn out from overuse. Must have left the receipt in Bill's room. I paid for the brakes myself. I'd show you, but I left my car at home. Something still seems off. Yeah, something does still seem off. Why did she need to buy... She only just finished rebuilding it 2 weeks ago. How was it? Yeah. So you ordered a brake pedal to replace the previous one in your car. Bingo. The thing is, we talked to Mrs. Card. She said you finished rebuilding your car 2 weeks ago. The accident took place before then. If you couldn't even drive your car yet, how would the brakes be worn out? She did? Yeah, that's right. They were worn out, just not by me. Let me explain. Oh my god. car I was rebuilding already had brakes, but I found out they were all worn out. Annie usually helps me with the parts, but she didn't have any brakes I could use, so I got them myself. Ordered them online, and then I went and picked them up when I got off work. See? It's really not a big deal. I just worded things wrong. No. No, this doesn't sound... I don't know either, though I'm noticing this would have been the same time that Meg went on break, which is interesting. Because Meg was working on the car up until her break. Let me see. He doesn't mention. But I think it's very interesting that Meg's break and the trick that Annie was doing for Bill were at the exact same time. And this is when she saw someone running away right before the crash. Like, right in that period. So the crash must have happened relatively shortly after, yeah? There's also the fact that they've disputed his claim for damages, and I wonder why. Are they just being, you know... Or is there something else going on? This art seems... Hey, who the heck are you? Doughboy? You know this guy? I wouldn't forget. This little punk is Fry Noyle. No! Fry Noyle? But everyone calls him Doughboy because of his art. FN. He vandalizes my dad's shop every week. Spread my art to a lot of places. What of it? Nickel and Diamonds Antiques. You know the store. Hey, you guys are the ones who keep erasing art. Take your art away from our shop. Mind filling me in? Doughboy here runs around spray painting on various buildings. It's always desserts like cookies and cakes. I see. So, Mr. Doughboy, we heard you were involved in a car accident last month. Klaus Orphanage, ring any bells? That's none of your business, pal. You know what? He's covering for something that happened with Meg. She made some sort of mistake or something on the brakes, which is why she went to buy new ones. And he's tried to cover for her so she wouldn't get in trouble. That's my guess. Either that or she didn't make a mistake and she did it on purpose to try and scare Bill, but why would she buy new brakes? I'm afraid it is my business. I'm Detective Ernest Hunt, and this is my assistant, Justina Smith. We'd like to ask you a few questions. Cops? No way, I ain't talking. You can either talk to us here or at the station. Your choice. If you cooperate, we'll leave you and your pastries in peace. Fine, whatever. I'll talk. Wanted to pull a little prank on that old orphanage guy. Figured it'd be funny. So about 1:30, I jacked up the brakes in his car. Not much else to it. In and out, no trouble. One of you cops came by later to question me, but she kept insisting I didn't do it. Yeah. This little prank of yours could have killed a man. You should feel ashamed of yourself. Whatever you say, Greenie. Greenie, you little... Don't let him get to you. Right. I guess we have to question him now. This is gonna be a long day. Really? Do we look at the art? That's a pretty cupcake. Show the dead some respect. Dead? Paint this cupcake in honor of the 5th Street Big O Cupcakes. They made the best orange cupcakes this side of town, till they closed last week. Taken away too soon. Was it really that good? Of course it was. That's why we honor their legacy. Rising costs caused them to sell to a corporate chain. It's a struggle to keep a small business afloat these days. Big O Cupcakes will live on in our hearts. Feel bad for the owners. Yeah, we have gotten clues off the weirdest things, and that's how these Ace Attorney can be, too. Like, just weird stuff. Looks like a slice of pie. What kind is it meant to be? It's the best kind of pie. Chocolate. Chocolate? That's too decadent even for me. Oh no, chocolate pie of the right sort. Ugh. Hey detective, what's your favorite kind of pie? Mine would have to be a warm apple pie. My mom always baked those for our family. Me? I'm a simple man. I like a nice cherry pie. I knew he was gonna say cherry pie because what is it? There's this weird thing associated with like cop and mystery shows where the cops always go into like a diner and they like the cherry pie there. Like I think it's in quite a few different things. Yeah, I think Twin Peaks maybe started it, and then you see like I think it may have started there. Great. Now I'm hungry. Roll cake. What's this supposed to be? It's a roll cake, Greenie. I always called those jelly rolls. Yeah, but this one doesn't have any jelly. Looking at all these sweets is starting to make me feel sick. Haven't you ever considered painting something else for a change? Something healthier, like broccoli. No way! I hate broccoli! I only paint things that bring me joy anyways. Hey, broccoli can bring you joy too. How, Justina? I mean, my sister used to fry it in a lot of butter. That might do it, but just to cook it right. Why is this eclair so lifeless? It's just an outline, Greenie. I haven't finished it yet. Outline? You don't really seem like the type to paint with a plan in mind. What are you talking about? This is some detailed stuff! My art takes a lot of time and thought, Greenie, but I wouldn't expect you to appreciate fine art. Fine art? Spray-painted desserts. Put a lot of consideration in every drop of paint. It all comes together to form a delicious masterpiece. I see. I wonder how it will turn out. So much spray paint. He put his initials on these cans, too. Those are the color codes. What the heck are you talking about? The colors of the spray paint. Those are hexadecimal codes. What? It's just a way of sharing color values. Pretty necessary for computers. Color me impressed. You figured it out just by looking at it. What can I say? I'm the daughter of 2 artists. See how long it will take for him to figure out the numbers are on the spray paint. Okay. I guess we're having a little talksy. I heard you attended Whitehall Academy. Did you cheat on the entrance exam or something? Jesus Christ, Justina! Wow! That was actually really, really rude! Hey, what's that supposed to mean? I think what she means to ask is, why not pursue a career instead of a life of petty crime? You don't think I have ways of making money? Sometimes I auction off my art. Got my own little online fan base, the Doughheads. They donate to me and stuff, keeps my art going. People are paying him to vandalize? It's ridiculous. Why would anyone want to donate to you? Jealous or something? The Doughheads are tired of boring losers like you who try to gatekeep art. Spreading the love and beauty of art and dessert, that's the motto of the Doughheads. Oh my god. If I can ask, why exactly did you decide to become a menace to society and vandalize people's property? Justina, you're being way too much of a cop right now. Art has no boundaries. I ain't gonna let my creativity be stifled by a bunch of landlords. Look, man, as long as he's not spray painting on, like, you know, national heritage buildings, ancient statues, etc., etc. They ain't always proper and legal. My works make a statement. You should be thanking me for making this dump of a city look better. Graffiti is not making the city look better, says you. My pastries are beautiful. I just want to bring some life to all this boring concrete. Just because you can't appreciate art doesn't mean other people can't, Greenie. I hear you were classmates with Meg. Were you two friends? Can't imagine why anyone would want to be friends with this guy. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe not. Never mind then. I see you're a fan of pastries. Sure am. They're the perfect subjects. Round, soft, sweet. This is what humans were made to eat. No. No, kid. I like a pastry too, but we're definitely not made to eat these. Of course you would agree. I prefer savory pastries myself. Savory? Savory pastries are for cowards. Hey now! Don't you dare! Good savory pastry is not something to shit on like that. I see. He's very opinionated. Okay, well. We talked to the mechanic at the orphanage. She said she was working on the car until 1:45 p.m. You couldn't have tampered with the brakes at 1:30. She would have seen you. Now you're calling me a liar? Meg's a liar, always changing her mind whenever it suits her. No one said her name. You know what? We got nothing else to talk about, cop. Do you know Meg? I ain't telling you anything. He's hiding something. We just need to force it out of him. Force it out of him. Way to prove Fry and Meg know each other. Take a look at this. Ding. We found the spray can from the garage Meg works at. So what? It's just a can. See the FN there? I bet it stands for fried oil, just like your other cans. Two of you did art together. Now tell us what you know. FN means found nothing. That's a weak comeback. Meg told us all about you, Fry, about how you messed up and blamed her. It was her fault for playing dumb, not mine. I'm having a hard time believing you. It's a pretty bold bluff he's pulling. You kidding me? She asked me to come over that day twice. I bail her out and then she turns around and spits in my face, calls me a liar. How did you bail her out exactly? You know what? Forget it. I'm not saying another word to you. You either talk to us now, or you can stew this over in a jail cell. Your choice. Alright, geez. You're not real pushy, you know that? Look, Meg and I went to school together, took art classes and stuff. We got close, real close. But then she up and tells me she just wants to be friends. Well, you know, you can be close friends, my dude. That's a thing. Close friends. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So after graduating, we stayed friends, but we kind of started drifting apart. Then out of nowhere, I get some letter from her saying she's changed her mind, talking about all her feelings for me. Sounds pretty sweet, right? She wants to meet up at her old room the day of that accident around 1:50 p.m. So what happened next? Then the weird thing happens. Around 1 p.m. she calls me and asks me to go pick up a car brake pedal for her. So I did. I brought it to her around 1:30 p.m. She gets all overjoyed and happy about it too. Then I asked her about us in the letter. She acts like she has no idea what I was talking about. Can you believe that? She really used me. Just plays a sick joke, then wants to act like I'm the one lying about it. I ain't one to let that slide, so I just took those stupid brakes and left. So you didn't mess with the brakes in Bill's car? No, I didn't. Then why take the credit? Apparently some lady from there saw me leaving and decided to blame me for it. So I had to roll with it. If people think I nearly killed a man and got away with it, nobody would want to mess with me. Did Meg tell you why she wanted the brakes? I didn't ask. She ordered them online, so I grabbed it. Do you still have it? I returned it. Money probably got refunded to her card. I don't have a use for a car brake, and just because she used me doesn't mean I'm going to steal her stuff. I see. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Noyle. Whatever. Just get out of here and leave me alone already. Oh. I want to know who sent that letter, if it wasn't Meg. So what now? Got a new lead to follow up on. Let's check it out. Alright, Meg. Let's see here. How do we... What? Here we go. An interesting thing happened today. We paid a visit to the Fry Noyle. He claims that you asked him to pick up those car brakes for you just before the accident. You two got into a fight about something, and so he left with them. He didn't pick up those brakes. Tell us the truth. Please, Meg, don't keep lying. It was an accident, I swear. Tell us what happened. It was me. I broke the brakes. I was under the steering wheel of the car, and I must have been putting my weight on the pedal. I thought it would be fine, but I ended up snapping the bridge in half. That's when I asked Fry for help. After he left with them, I tried using metal glue and tape to repair it temporarily. Then I went on break, hoping it would be fine. But then they failed when Bill tried to drive it. Was Bill aware of this? I was going to tell him, but he got back before I finished my break. I didn't have a chance to tell him. The glue and tape must have come off while he was driving. I didn't get to explain what happened until after the crash. Hold on. If it was an accident, why didn't you tell the police that? If my boss found out that I nearly killed a customer, I'd have been fired for sure. The landlady said she saw someone leaving the parking lot, and so that's who took the blame. Bill and I never told her the truth. We just agreed to her side of the story. So he's trying to protect you. The person leaving, was that Fry? He said he left at 1:30. How could the landlady have seen him? Shh, I don't know. Maybe he lingered around a bit. He was very upset about that stupid letter. I told him I didn't write it, but he didn't believe me. It was the last time we spoke. If you didn't write it, then who did? I don't know. It must have been a cruel prank. I'm really sorry about everything. Don't be. Bill should have told me. Detective, what do we do? I was really looking forward to catching the one who hurt my friend, but not like this. Miss Assistant, I need you to do me a favor. Head back to the station with Meg. We need her to give us the full facts of this case. Am I under arrest? It's just a routine procedure, as long as you'll come willingly. If you'll cooperate, I'll make sure this doesn't appear on your criminal record. Can you do that? I understand. I'll go. What about you? I'll keep investigating what we actually came here for. Tell the others I said hello. Huh. Not good. That's I think that could be some sort of negligence charge. I'm back, Miss Earle. I brought a guest with me. I was expecting you to. Detective Hunt called and told me what happened. I thought I told you that this case was closed. I suppose we can worry about that later. Miss Konecki, right? I'm Sue P. Earle, and I'm the head clerk here. Do you mind coming with me? I want to get the full story. Sure, okay. Don't worry, Meg. Just tell her the truth and everything will be fine. Well, I hope she'll be okay. Justy, you're back! This is Sophie? Don't surprise me like that. Sorry. I'm just happy to see you. You solved the case. If you keep going like this, you'll be a full detective before you know it. Thanks. But I wish you could have been there. This was your first case. Don't worry about it. Better to be solved by you than let it go cold forever. But no buts. We still have a bigger case to solve, so chin up. How did things at the orphanage go? Did you and Red find anything on BG Turtles? No, nothing at all. Whatever's going on, it looks like the orphanage has nothing to do with it. Well, I did some digging myself. From what I could find, the charity could legally transfer the money, as long as it was agreed to by both the charity and the orphanage. The money would also need to be used within the confines of what's permissible for charity money. Specifically, it can't be used for the benefit of anyone at the charity or the orphanage. But I couldn't find anything on BG Turtles LLC itself. So, where do we even go from here? And we still had Chandra's proof. Well, why don't we try talking to her again? Who, Chandra? Yeah. Maybe she can point us in the right direction. It's worth a shot anyways. You've got a point. Let's go. You wait in the interrogation room. I'll go grab Chandra. Okay. Good afternoon, Chandra. How are you holding up? As well as could be, given everything. Did you find anything out? Unfortunately not. We don't have much to go off right now. All we have is your claim. Without any proof, we've got nothing. We thought you could help us. Well, I'll help however I can. What do you want to know? I wanted to ask, why exactly did you decide to steal half the money from the safe? You must have had a reason. I thought I went over this before, but I guess I can explain it again. Owen had me help him with the accounting work for the charity money. While I was going over the numbers, I learned that part of the money was missing. I dug further, and that's when I was able to find the name BG Turtles LLC. So the amount of money that was supposed to be in the safe wasn't there. If we took half the money in the safe, it would make it obvious what the true amount was. Then the Eubanks would be exposed for their theft. That's pretty clever. So, how much money was supposed to be in the safe? Roughly 380,000 alms. That means the amount that was actually in the safe was 355,000 alms. Wait, that's it. Sophie, the police recorded the amount of money in the safe, right? They should have. I'll go check with Sue. We'll need to confirm the fundraise amount as well. Do you know where we might find a record of that? Well, the Eubanks should have it. Right. That will get them to cooperate with us willingly. I don't think either Eubanks would be happy if we showed up at the estate again. Well, we could always try their office in the city. I'm sure they'd have records there. Good idea. Let's give that a shot. Thank you for your help, Chandra. Good luck. I hate to keep bothering Chandra, but she's the only chance we have. Could the Eubanks really have stolen the money themselves? If so, then why? Maybe it's like Detective Hunt said. They do it because they can. But I can't shake the feeling there's more to this story. Hey, Justy, I'm back. Sophie, what did you find out? You were right. There were about 355,000 alms recovered from the safe money. Aha! Now we just have to find the Eubanks records, and they'll have nothing to hide behind. You're all pumped up all of a sudden. It's just, after seeing what Chandra went through with her firing, and how much the orphanage means to Detective Hunt, I can't let all of that be in vain. It's up to us to solve this case now. That's the spirit. I like the side of you, Justy. Anyways, let's head out. We can take the police cruiser. Why would we ever do that when we have Zephyr? Hang on. I still haven't recovered from the last time we rode that. My head and stomach were spinning for the whole next day. Aw, come on. We'll get there so much faster. Just hold on to me. You'll be fine. But needless to say, I hugged the ground as soon as we arrived. Eubank Investments Lobby. Wow. So this is Eubank Investments. It's just as cold and dreary as I expected. I could at least hang a painting or two. Excuse me, can I help you with something? Ah! Why does every person in the city sneak up on me? We're with the Azure City Police. I'm Detective Sophie Swift, and this is my assistant, Justina Smith. Police officers, huh? Well, Eubank Investment is always happy to cooperate with the police. What can I assist you with, officers? At this point, you might as well just hand me a badge. Well, you could start with your name. Oh, my apologies. How rude of me. My name is Lowell Ledger. Trying to figure out the pun there. I mean, Ledger, obviously, but executive assistant. Now, was there some reason for your visit? We're here to investigate the Klaus charity. I'm aware that Eubank Investments handles the fundraising. Klaus charity. I'm sorry, but you'll have to take up that matter with the president. President? Well, can we speak with him then? I'm afraid he's not here at the moment. He's a very busy man. Not a moment. He didn't come here just to be turned away. We suspect someone involved with the charity may have embezzled some of the money. All we need is to verify the amount that was raised. Surely you could help us with that. That is, if you have nothing to hide. Embezzlement, huh? Yes, I believe I can help you with that. One moment, please. Well, that certainly got him in the mood to cooperate. What do you make of all this, Sophie? Do you really think the Eubanks are hiding something? You saw Chandra's files. There's clearly something Mr. Eubank doesn't want us knowing about. As for why, I'm not sure, but right now, we should confirm that Chandra's info is correct. You're right. By the way, about the accident case. I don't have much to say on it. I'm just glad you and Red were able to solve it. I just thought you should know your early investigation was invaluable to us. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to track down Doughboy. That was what led us back to Meg in the first place. Should have figured all of it out on my own. Red trained me himself. He vouched for me to take on the car crash case. And I failed him. I failed Bill, and I failed myself. That's not true. You're a great detective. You could have arrested Fry as soon as you found him. I certainly would have. But you didn't. You even wrote why in the case file. I spoke with the primary suspect, Fry Noyle. He said he broke the brakes and his motive was to gain street cred. But when asked for details, he refused to explain how he broke the brakes. Given how upfront he was about motive and opportunity, not explaining the means is unusual. This has led me to believe he is lying and is not our culprit. With no other evidence, I have no grounds to keep Fry Noyle as a suspect. Now tell me, were you honest when you wrote that? I was. Then you knew you did the right thing. Today, Bill told us a lot of employers turn people down for a criminal record no matter how small. You stopped that. No matter what I think of him, he shouldn't be arrested for crimes he didn't commit. If you ask me, that makes you a great detective. Really mean it? I do! And we're going to prove it now. We'll crack this embezzlement case and reveal the Eubank secrets. Ah! Not again! How long has he been listening to us? Here is the file you so politely requested. Take a look. I assure you all of our dealings are above board. We'll see about that. Let's see. It's a pretty boring financial document. Thankfully, I'm pretty good at reading those. Total amount fundraised, 380 and 17 alms. Approximately 25,000 alms are unaccounted for. Mr. Ledger, are you absolutely certain that this is the correct amount? I can attest to its accuracy. There's some sort of problem with that amount? Oh. Oh, do we reveal this to him? Oh, I have no idea. Okay, my throat is getting a bit raw, so I think I'm gonna actually leave this decision until next time. And call it here. I'm having actually a lot of fun. This is a really intriguing, yes, cliffhanger time. But yes, this is a really intriguing game, actually. Like, the plot twists definitely keep you hooked. So hopefully I'll be able to be back with more of it, you know, relatively soon. Couple days if I'm really feeling okay. The thick is definitely plotting. Oh man, that is fun. So yeah, I will try to be back to that soon because I want to know what's going on here. Until then, I'm gonna call it here. So, good night.